Good evening and welcome along to the West Yorkshire Football Show. We're here to talk about all things Leeds United and looking, of course, at Leeds United 3, Liverpool 3, giving our reaction, our take on yesterday, another exhilarating match involving Leeds United. I am Stephen Brown, joining me as ever, Jason Booker. Hope you have all had a nice weekend. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you could do us a favour, like the video, get subscribed to the channel, get your comments in as well. Jay, is this the best week we've had in the Premier League for I can't remember when? I mean, even kind of the highs of the Bielsa season, because it was kind of behind closed doors essentially. I mean, this week, I mean, it's been something else, hasn't it?
As you can tell, the exhilaration has tired Browney out, apparently.
Yeah, just a little bit, mate.
It's definitely up there, mate. I'd say that the only kind of comparable feeling of Premier League kind of excitement has been the Norwich 2-1 and then the Brentford 3-1 at the end of the season when we stayed up. But it feels like this week, you know, me and you have both said we needed kind of statement moments since coming back. We've got some good results on the board, but we didn't get that definitive win against Bournemouth. We didn't get the definitive win against Spurs. We didn't get the definitive win against Villa, even though we played well in them games, and against Bournemouth obviously picked up a point, Newcastle as well. We obviously, on the back of the City performance, one half in which was concerning, one half in which was hopeful, it left you with optimism. We then went into the Chelsea game and rolled them over, didn't we, really? And we got that statement win. Farke felt like he'd got everybody back on side a little bit, maybe not everybody, but got a large section of the fans back on side. And then we, backed that up with, again, a bit of a mixture of a performance yesterday, in that there were things that I liked, there were things that I didn't like. I think, you saw a big reason why the 3-5-2 isn't just a perfect solution in that first half and the beginning of the second. But one thing that I don't think can label at the door of this team is that they've got nothing but fight. They won't give up. They'll just keep on going. They really are a determined group, especially at home. They'll just keep on plugging away. And yeah, Liverpool are not in a great, position right now, but man for man, again, that team absolutely blows us away, and we bridge the gap. I talk a lot about bridging the gap of the quality, and the players are doing that when they're prepared to put the bodies on the line, really commit to the formation, the tactic, the structure of which we're trying to play. And then even when that doesn't work and we go behind, they don't give up. They're trying to find a way back into the game, and them and Daniel Farke both did that yesterday. Too often it gets labelled at the door of the manager that he can't get the changes right to change a game. Well, yesterday he did. And, too many Farke hours will be, it was just lucky on this occasion. Oh, he did what only he could do. No, he changed the game yesterday. And we need to give him the credit when it's due. So, yeah, mate, I mean, it feels to me like we're kind of now finding a balance into where we should be in the table. I'm not surprised to see where we are. I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody had told me we'd have been in this position at the beginning of the season. I actually think it's a success. Given the on the back of the last 3 games that we've had, a lot of Farke, and there've been people in this show that have said that Farke won't get another win. Well, he did that, and there were also people in this show that have come on and said we won't pick up another point, or we'd be cut adrift. I heard a lot of people say that we'd be cut adrift after these 3 games. Well, we're not. Not only are we not cut adrift, we're actually safe as it stands. So a lot of people need to take a moment and reassess.
Yeah.
I think ultimately I think it's game week 14 now, we're in a good little spot.
Well, Jay, after the run of fixtures we've had, if you would have been offered 16th with daylight to the bottom 3, after this run of games, did any of us expect that? I mean, we talked on here about we're probably going to have to accept the fact that we'll get out of this run in the bottom 3, because we'd not picked up points in, lesser fixtures, and then we were going into a really tough run of games. But actually, we've come out the other end with daylight to the bottom 3, a couple of points, and I agree. I think it's this situation is kind of exactly what we hoped for at this stage. And and it's amazing what a difference a couple of weeks can make with the feeling. I think a lot of people have to reassess now, and I think what we do as not just football fans but human beings, we look to history for answers going forward. I've talked about this before, and I think a lot of people said, "Oh, is it the Jesse Marsh moment? Is it this? Is it that?" It's like, well, that's different. It's a different time. It's a different person. It doesn't.
A different feel.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to do it just because we didn't get rid of Jesse Marsh. We have to get rid of Farke because we didn't get rid of Jesse Marsh. It doesn't work like that. And the way the players are performing, we never saw that under Marsh at all. So it gives us a lot of encouragement. Going into the game, then Jay, bit of news kind of broke that Nemecha would be out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring. We saw him a couple of times against Chelsea where he was kind of feeling his hamstring a little bit, and it looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. And a big blow kind of before the game, because he is kind of vital, especially in this new, two man up top. Him and Calvert-Lewin just seem to play off each other so well. I've got my reservations about Okafor, to be completely honest, and I don't feel like that was disproved yesterday at all. And I think you're right. I think when you look at the 3-5-2, it's not an automatic, right, that's us fixed, that's everything fine and dandy. And, you're probably looking at how is someone like Nonto or, even Aronson going to kind of affect, the team if we're just playing that formation. Well, it don't work like that. We mixed it up and those players had impact. And like you say, Farke has to be given total credit for that. But losing Mecha before the game, Jay, did that kind of not ring alarm bells, but were you thinking that's going to be interesting to see how we cope with that? Because, he's just that kind of presence, isn't he, up top along with DCL?
Yeah, no, for sure. We're going to get to some of your comments as well, because you're making some really, really great comments. And there's a lot to kind of dissect when it comes to tactics and talking Farke and systems and all the rest of it. But this point specifically, Brian, I mean, for me, I only believe that the 3-5-2 only works to an efficient level if we have them two fit out of the squad that we've got. You saw yesterday that Okafor were blowing out of his ass after 30 minutes. He hasn't got it in him at the minute, and maybe he never will have to do the pressing game over.
Not to cut you off, but what's going on there? I don't understand. What is that about? Because for me, he can handle about 30 minutes, and then that's it. He does that thing where to beat a man, he starts to get really slack with it. Like when he got caught in transition in the second half, or towards the end of the first half, I can't remember which it was. It's like, you've been fit for a few weeks now. What's going on? Why are you only capable of 30 minutes or looking kind of sharp for 30 minutes? I don't quite understand what's happening there.
It's a tricky one, because there's a bit attached to it. Like, you can be a striker that doesn't have to make a pressing game, which obviously probably would have been in the past. When you're a team that have got a lot of the ball, you get involved in the play in different ways. We are spending a lot of time without the ball at the minute against these better teams, so he's expected to do a higher pressing game. He's got to be defensively responsible, which he's not used to doing. It's not just as simple as like, oh, you're a footballer, get on and do it, because they have different attributes that have spent years and years and years perfecting. So it is. That's why it's not just a case of, oh yeah, stick him in at the 9 and everything will be sorted. When he's getting the opposition in a 1v1 situation, if you're central and you're doing that, the likelihood is that you're going to get crowded out far quicker, which is not his game. He usually is isolated a fullback 1v1 and it can get past him more often, so you're going to see him be less effective in them areas of the pitch when he's trying to do what he's good at doing out wide. So I don't fully blame him, because I don't believe for a second that Noah Okafor was bought to be playing up front.
No,
that wasn't. This 3-5-2 is definitely not. It wasn't a plan at the beginning of the season to implement this during the season. I don't believe that. I think it's something that they've maybe been working on throughout the season when things have been going a little bit astray, and they brought it into effect at a time where the game had basically gone against City and found actually this can be productive. But I personally thought the version that we saw against Chelsea and the version that we saw against Liverpool first half were very, very different, and a large part of that is down to the fact that Mecha wasn't playing. Because when the ball goes long, Metcher and Calvert-Lewin can interchange who's challenging and who's then the second striker. They do that very, very well. Whereas when Okafor's up, can't do that. You have to go to Calvert-Lewin, which then leaves Okafor as the second man, and he's not then always used to following it up in the same way. And it puts a lot of demand on Calvert-Lewin, who I thought had a very, very good game yesterday. So yeah, there is some reservations to it. It's a problem. It's a problem when one of them two is out. I don't think long term that is the solution. Is Okafor up there with them? But what it does do is it means that you then have impactful substitutions in Nonto, Aronson, Dan James when he gets back to come on and change the game. But you know, them yesterday, the players in question there, Aronson and Nonto, they didn't change the game because the tactic was a certain way. They changed the game because the structure that Daniel Farke then put them into was playing through the lines. It looked very different to the 4-3-3 of normal. Brendan was flotating all over the place. Flotating's a new word I'm just making.
I like that.
It was flotating, you know, between the lines, and it made a big difference. Anton Stack was picking up play positions that he ordinarily wouldn't do as well. So when fans are quick to say, and I did flag this comment here, looks like Farke's learning to adapt. I just think that this is really, I think it's a bit of a naive comment towards what the manager's doing and not doing on a regular basis. We've seen Daniel Farke achieve 190 points over 2 seasons in the Championship, but you'll tell me that he can't adapt and change. The facts are is most of the time he hasn't had to adapt or change. The amount of teams that have been able to beat our A game have been so few and far between that you haven't really seen an opportunity for him to do that. And then at Premier League level, the level of opposition is just so much higher that sometimes it doesn't matter what he does. Yeah, it's not going to make that difference because the opposition is just so much better. Yeah, but yesterday you just saw it come to fruition. It's happened. Newcastle looked very different at home. Bournemouth looked very different at home. Everton looked very different at home. We've gotten a problem away from home. I can accept that and say that Daniel Farke needs to find a solution. And I think the 3-5-2 away from home will look very different to how it does at home. But fans are just very quick to say, well, he can't adapt. Well, where's the actual evidence of that? It actually does happen. You just don't see it as evidently as 2 formation differences, 4-3-3 and 3-5-2. You think that's adaptation. It's not. There's loads of that 4-3-3 that he changed to in the second half yesterday wasn't the 4-3-3 that he rolled out against Aston Villa. No. The formation's the same, but the way that he then implemented what he was doing on the pitch was very, very different.
Yeah, because there were so many interesting little tweaks. I thought actually Gary Neville spoke really well on it in his podcast that he does, and he was chatting. I thought he said the profile of like Aronson and Nonto, and it felt like you had a completely different set of footballers, a type of footballers on the pitch, and they were kind of buzzing around in that kind of left field area, and it would just felt very. It was radically different to what we'd looked like before. And yeah, it's not kind of a happy accident, you know. It's he, for me, Farke changed the game with the substitutions, because what I felt I was watching last night was the level difference. I think Liverpool have been fully aware what a torrid time we gave Chelsea at midweek, and I think they will have been absolutely drilled about Ellen Road, how hard it is, how tough it is, and the fact that they're going to be physical, in your face. And you've got to be bang on this from day dot. And I thought we were a bit sloppy. I thought we had a lot of sloppy moments where we talked before against Chelsea where everyone was 8, 9, that kind of thing. The amount of times, Jay, where I saw, especially Bogle did it a few times. I thought Gruev struggled in moments. Struijk. There was a kind of. There were so many times I was counting it up where we'd kind of just kick the ball away, but we'd always find a Liverpool player. And it was like a bit of a panic there. And it was almost like that, those level differences between the sets of players was kind of, you could see it, and that's where I looked at Stack and thought he was at home, he was comfortable, he wasn't doing that kind of thing. And that was concerning because there's nothing Farke can do about that. Farke can't say to Bogle, well, don't just kick it to the Liverpool player or find. We seem to find a way to give the ball to Liverpool. However, what I will say is we've managed to get to half-time 0-0.
They did a good.
And it was a mistake ultimately that cost us. You know what I
mean? They did a good job of forcing us into playing it long as well, though. Yeah, and Konate and Van Dijk, they are very good in the air. We're not going to come up against centre backs that are as comfortable in the air as them two on a regular basis. But they were, and if Calvert-Lewin didn't get the knockdown perfect, we gave the ball back. So they were pressing us to a point, and because we've got no wingers, you've then got no kind of external outlet down that side as well. And this is the problem with the 3-5-2. You're expecting Gabby and Jayden Bogle to do so much legwork down that side. And then you run the risk of losing the ball in a certain area. And Liverpool is so good on the break. So, there's just such a quality difference in the two teams. So the fact that we were able to kind of balance that out in the first, I mean, look at the midfields. Ilya Gruev up against Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. Come on now, what are we doing here? And I like Gruev, but he's a ordinary footballer. Same goes for Ampadu and Stack, for that matter. The levels difference even between them two and the Liverpool midfield is absolutely colossal. But just coming back to the way that the changes affected the game, I truly believe that Daniel Farke looked at the situation and thought, right, I'm going to take Brendan onto that, and I want him to drift over towards the left. That was instructional. I've never seen Brendan do that. That was definitely intentional. Get Nonto, Gabby, Stack, and Brendan interchanging down that left-hand side, and get at Conor Bradley, who was on a yellow card, and get at Konate, who was a bomb scare. And it worked. It was 100% intentional. We didn't have any attacks down the right-hand side until it went back to 3-2. Then it started to kind of even itself out a little bit, but it was definitely intentional to go down that left-hand side. So he deserves all the credit. I've seen a couple of comments with regards to Mecha. Mecha would have made a massive difference in that battle up against them centre backs, because he's good at that, and they're both really good at it together. So he is going to be a miss if he's out. And I really want to see the 3-5-2 away from home. I know we're going to come to probably talking about the next game at some point. I do want to see the 3-5-2 at home, away from home, but I am worried by the profile of the player that we're going to have to play in that spot if Mecha's not available. Because it's not just Okafor or bust, but it kind of feels like he would be the only viable option to play in that place, because Joel Perreault's not going to do it either. At least Okafor's got pace.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kelly's mentioned here, do you think Peru could start in the next 2 weekends? Is he's more similar to Mecha? I don't see him similar really in any.
I think Okafor's more like Mecha.
Yeah.
And Okafor's nothing like Mecha.
Yeah. Well, this is my frustration with Okafor as well, is because he's got to do more in those moments when he's got the ball and there isn't loads of support. And yes, you're asking an individual to do a lot, but I just feel we're getting like 30% of what this guy's actually capable of. That bit where he lost the ball in transition, for example, it was just so sloppy. And it's frustrating, because if he's got a chance of, if we are not going to play 4-3-3 that often, and if, Mecha's fit, he's not starting. And, if he gets an opportunity like that, he's got to do more in those moments. And the reason why I say that is because I do think he's really talented. I think he's one of our, if not our most talented player. And it's like, I want you to do more than what you're doing in those moments, because you have a little bit of that gold dust. You can beat a man. We know how quick you are. But the amount of times, Jay, I'm watching him and he doesn't get round the defender. Like he knocks the ball ahead. And honestly, it's game after game now. He doesn't beat the man ever.
I think you've got to be a little bit more kind of descriptive with what you mean by doing more, because I think when you say doing more, I think what fans will think when you say that is you've got to take players on and score goals and get assists. I don't think that's what you mean, and that's not what I mean either. I want to see him do more of what Dominic Calvert-Lewin does, which is hold the ball up, bring other players into play, win a free kick, make it bobble off the defender and go out for a throw-in. Like, people kind of overlook how important that is. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, like, he's got so many deficiencies as a striker, very similar to Pat, but he's on a different level to Pat, in my opinion. I mean, every week I watch Dominic Calvert-Lewin and I think he gets stronger and better. He is, and honestly, outside of putting the ball in the back of the net, which I know is important, he's such a great striker. He's a great centre forward. He does everything that you would want a centre forward to do. If you're playing in a team in and around Calvert-Lewin, you are a saint, mate. Like, you are doing so much for the team. That people will kind of just overlook. I think it's brilliant. I honestly, I really, really rate him. I think our season kind of depends on keeping him fit. I really do, because we are so lost up there. I like Metra as well. I think Metra's a completely different profile and they complement each other in the 3-5-2 really well. But honestly, it can't be overstated enough how important Calvert-Lewin is to everything that we're doing. And, you know, fair play to him yesterday. Got up and took the penalty as well. You know, that had been a pressurised penalty. He scored one tap in from basically the goal line.
You fancy him when he stepped up to that?
No,
I didn't.
No, I mean, I didn't fancy him or Pascal. I said to you, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. We're going to miss it because it's Pascal or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't mean to discredit Calvert-Lewin as a striker. Yeah. He has got that kind of in him. I'd love to. I mean, if he could score goals on a regular basis, mate.
He's up to 4 now. I mean, he's 4 and he's got 3 on the trot, isn't it? 3 and 3. And,
yeah. You know. Well, we said if he got 10, we'd probably stay up if he were to be able to score 10 this season. So
yeah, I think you're saying about, you know, he could be key to survival, and that is the question mark. That's the worry, isn't it? That fitness level, and because it feels to me, I mean, it's like almost like Metra going out with a hamstring for 2 weeks. You can just see all of a sudden Farker announces at press conference Calvert-Lewin's out for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and I think looking at what we've seen, I think if Calvert-Lewin's not in this team, I think it's a real different ball game, because all that stuff that he does that you say, you know, the winning free kicks, the physicality, the cleverness, the hold up play, the leap, this leap that he does where he like just hangs in the air, like, you know,
very good in the air.
We just need it so much. So yeah, long may it continue.
I know, obviously, turning over a few pages here, and we'll get to January when we get to January. But if we stick with the 3-5-2 and it is going to be our main formation going forward, I think a 9 has to be a recruitment. We can't mess around with it because Pirot's miles away from it. I really, really like Joel Pirot. I like him as a guy. I like his profile. I think even at the Premier League level, if the system was built around him, I think you could see a predator, because I think the goal doesn't change. You can finish, and he's a finisher, but he doesn't fit us at the moment at all. He's not even worthwhile bringing on for me. I don't. Yeah. When he comes on, he offers nothing within the system. And I don't blame him entirely, because I just don't think it's his game. The system just doesn't suit him. We move him on. We maybe move someone else on as well within the squad that can fetch something, and we go out and we sign a striker that's going to be able to play every week from now until the end of the January to the end of the season, and to make up for either one of them missing. It's going to be pivotal, is that?
Yeah, and I've got to say, one of my hopeful predictions in the summer was Pirot stepping up. You know, when he won the beep test in the bleep test in the summer, like, you know, he's on it, but it's not quite working out. And like you say, when he comes on, you don't feel like he's going to have impact at the moment. We got to half time anyway, Jay. It's 0-0, and you're thinking, right, let's not do the thing where we concede immediately after half time and then bang. Joe Rodon, I mean, God, we were, singing his praises midweek, and look, it's one mistake, and if he goes another 100 appearances without an error, it's not a problem. I had to watch the replay, Jack. I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, it's not Rodon who's done that. There's no way, like, surely Rodon's not part. Oh, it's Rodon. Damn, like, you just didn't expect it, did you? You just thought, what's happened there? And it's one of those, isn't it, where it just kind of got away from Ampadu, and it's curling, and you're watching the Liverpool play ball where you're like, oh no, it's going to happen.
I mean, it could have been so much worse, because I thought Ampadu was just going to clean him out.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean.
And then Ampadu, red card, out for 3 games, would have lost the game anyway, and it'd have been a completely different kettle of fish. I mean, Joe Rodon's absolutely allowed a mistake. He's been absolutely flawless almost for 110 appearances in a row, whatever it is. He's been excellent. So I'm not going to lose a minute's sleep, criticising Joe Rogan or anything like that. And I'm relieved for him as much as I am us and the team that we were able to get something out of the game on the back of it, because I know full well he would have been sick about the mistake, and especially kind of legging Ethan up in the way that he did, kind of put Ampadu in such an horrible position. So yeah, but it is one of them. It happens. It's a lack of concentration. It were almost too easy. We had too much comfortable possession and they switched off. And that's what players do. All humans are capable of that. And the more you go up the league table, the less likely you are to see them kind of mistakes. But even at the very, very, very top level, you see mistakes. Look at Arsenal yesterday. 95th minute, they go and concede and lose the game. So
what's happening with this after half time? I don't know how many.
6 goals.
Is that what it is?
6 goals within the first 5 minutes of the second half. I said straight on the back of it, like it seems like it's a bit of an inherent problem. And Chris mentioned that it had been said on the radio while he was listening to the game. It's definitely an issue. It's definitely some sort of issue.
Yeah. Is that just kind of switching back on? Is that kind of, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? Because it was Villa, wasn't it? Villa was that one at Villa really hurt. And it was like, I don't know. It's, what... surely it's getting picked up on, and surely, Farke saying to the lads, look, concentrate and switch on, but it is a little bit of a thing, isn't it?
It's strange because we start games so well. So it's clearly not starting halves that's the problem. It's clearly a very distinct thing coming out from half-time, second half. It's a lack of concentration within the group or what, I don't know, but there's something there. That is definitely kind of then contributing towards us conceding, or teams are getting at us right at the beginning of the second half, after getting a rollicking in the first half. I think this season so far we've seen some really strong first half performances, especially at Ellen Road. I suppose the opposition likewise are then getting read the riot act at half time and coming out in the second half and making their quality tell. That's what Villa did. That was what it was, wasn't it, in the second half against Villa. One moment of quality between Daniel Mallon and Morgan Rogers, and it scored. You sat scratching your head as to how that's happened. So yeah, probably a bit of the opposition as well. But I definitely think there's something for the coaching team to work on there for sure.
I can't lie, when it went to 2-0 a couple of minutes after, I did start to have flashbacks of previous Premier League campaigns, especially last two, where we got absolutely humped at home. I think there was 3-0, there was a 6 in there, and I thought, there was just part of me that feared it going down that route, because suddenly it looked like they could kind of rip through us. Perry, should he have done better for that one? Gabby, gets beaten.
I think, I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel that. Just on that point, I've not really felt like that under Daniel Farke ever. I think he's capable away from home, but at home, I really, really don't ever see this team turning it in and going under. The second goal, I think, came on the back of the way that the first one came. I think they were still kind of reeling from what had happened, from the mistake, giving it up. They knew that it was going to be a massive goal in the game, and it just felt very disorganised. Pascal was out of position. Gabby, again, defensively, he's got some serious problems as Gabby. So many goals come from down that side. It's untrue. Should Perry do better? I'm not so sure. I think the cross is within the middle of them. Unless he knows it's going to be in exactly that spot, he can't react any quicker than what he does. He puts his body on the line to try and get there. It's if the ball's maybe half a yard further back, he's offside. It's a tough one. It's a real tough, because the positioning of the defence was just all over the place. It ended up being that a player was completely free, basically on the penalty spot. But what's the goalkeeper? I know it's a little bit closer to the goal than that, but what's the goalkeeper to do there? He's on the line at that point. You know what I mean? So I actually thought Lucas Perry had a really good game yesterday. I know a lot of people are still been banging him online. And it's just certain players, for whatever reason, it just sticks. And bear in mind, this guy's played 10 games for Leeds United. He's playing in the most difficult position you can have to fill, by the way. The keeper is the number one most difficult position to play, hands down. I won't hear any different to it. It's the most difficult position to play. And he's adapting to a new country and everything else that comes with that. Yesterday, I actually think he he wins as a point. You know, the Gakpo chance goes in, the game's over. If the Van Dijk header goes in, the game's over. So
I feel with Perry, I'm watching. It's like a really basic way to describe it, but like a proper keeper.
Yeah,
it feels like it's not someone who, you know. I mean, Darlow. I thought Darlow did, you know, well when he came in, but you could see there was like a kind of ceiling. Where I think Perry, I mean, I just think, you know, he's gonna get better and better, and I think we've seen that already. And like you say, I think sometimes first impressions with players as well. You know, it's just like they with goalkeepers as well. You know, the slightest thing it's under the microscope, isn't it? And often, you know, will lead to goals. But it's I think he's going to get stronger and stronger as the weeks go on. But I thought he was very good yesterday. I thought he did win as a point. Some of them saves were fantastic.
I think people are so over critical with regards to his kicking as well. You know, I know his kicking.
Yeah, I do. I don't get. Yeah, what's all the criticism with his kicking?
It's not bad. It goes long most times. He never really shanks them out of play. Gives Calvert-Lewin an opportunity with a lot of them. And bear in mind, especially yesterday, I mean, he must have had to play 70, 80 long balls over that game. Like, what are you wanting him to do? He's not an outfield player that's going to be on a dime every time. And I mean, people were so critical of having Ilya Meslier in goal, who was good with his feet, because he couldn't do anything else in terms of claiming and shot stopping. Like, you know what I mean? I just think it's really harsh. I thought he had a really good game yesterday. Really good game. Yeah. And bear in mind, like, Alisson in the opposite goal, we're getting pelters as well. People said he should have saved the penalty. People said that he should have saved Stack's shot. Who were already going down the other way. And this is arguably one of the best keepers in the world. So, you know what I mean?
It's they've got to be a different breed of a keeper, aren't they? Because just from the pelters they get alone. Subs come on though, Jay, and an injection of something different, changes the formation. Like we've mentioned, Nonto combining, and it was good to see Nonto have an impact. I thought really good, and I feel like it's the first time in a long time we've seen him come in and really impact things. Absolutely brilliant, the little back heel that he does, and you know, winning the penalty, because you know that. I mean, what Konate's doing, I can't believe what Konate's doing. But fantastic work from Willie.
I think it's Nonto's best performance in a Leeds shirt in 2 years.
Yeah,
genuinely. And I know it was cameo-ish, you know, 30 minutes or whatever, and he's had some good championship performances, but I thought he was excellent yesterday when he came on. Deserves all the flowers, and he were committing players. He had confidence in himself. He was running at him. He was going both ways. You know, he was decisive in what he was doing. He wasn't stagnant. And this is something that does come, you know, with regards to the formation changes. It does force some of these players that think, well, I'm going to get some game time. When they do get game time, now they're really having to step up and show what they're about, because they don't know whether they're going to get any or not. Yeah. So, you know, him and Brendan, and we'll come to Brendan. I know we want to talk on Brendan specifically at some point, but Nonto, you know, he was brilliant. I mean, you know, he ran himself out of pitch with the run that Konate then makes a challenge, but that goes to show you just the chaos you can cause when you're positive with intent. It doesn't even matter if that ball had ran out. Like, it's forced Konate into doing something so stupid and reckless, you know.
I think that's a really good point, because I feel like I was watching Nonto, and in the championship, it was almost like he kind of became a sideways player. Do you remember how many times we would just go side to side?
Come across the pitch, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. We said it so many times. It was nice, like you say, committing plays and driving forward. That's what kind of gets us the penalty and get it in. So, listen, great. If he can have that kind of impact going forward, you know, bring it on. Brendan Aronson as well. Jay, we do have to comment, because I didn't have the match feed on, so I couldn't hear the sound, but pockets of boos when Brendan came on, which I was just kind of gobsmacked at, to be completely honest. I really shocked at that, and you know, hopefully he shut a few of those people up, because he was superb again, bright, and you know, gets the assist, and had a real meaningful impact on the game.
I mean, I you know, I've obviously been a defender of him this season. I think that the way that he's being treated by the Leeds fans is disgusting. I really do. And I'm not saying all, but it's a fair large section. Yesterday there was no cheers, which is what made it deafening to the point then where you could then hear the small amount of boos, and there were boos. I heard it on the TV.
Yeah.
I've then spoken to people that were at the game that like me said it was a disgrace. It's embarrassing, and it is embarrassing. Imagine other fans hearing us boo one of our own players when they come onto the pitch. And this lad this season has been nowhere near our worst performer. Nowhere near. He's actually contributed significantly, I think. And he's often playing in an unfamiliar role. He's not completely natural down that side. He does the best with what he's got. And there's players within this squad that have offered far less that just go completely under the radar. And so they should. Nobody else should be booed because they've been worse than Brendan Aronson, right? But if you are a season ticket holder or a match going week by week ticket holder at Leeds United and you are booing one of your own players when they come on the pitch, you need to have a good, long, hard look at yourself. And you need to leave that ticket for somebody more deserving because you're a disgrace.
I think that this is where social media has to take some of the blame to this, because I think certain fan channels, and I'm talking big fan channels, have slated him, and these seeds get planted in the fans' brains, and it grows and it grows and it grows, and I think we have to have a good long look at ourselves, especially these ones and that narrative around Aronson. They've got to really start to kind of understand how much impact, and we've talked about it loads, but they've got to understand what that impact is, where it's getting to a point where you're bringing a player on in a tight game and you're booing him.
It's mental.
It can't happen. It can't happen. Can't do it.
These fans are the same people that will go onto Twitter or even in person and they'll say that they are diehard Leeds fans. They support Leeds so passionately. Bollocks. It's nonsense, Brownie. If you are prepared, I'm not talking. I'll be careful how I kind of say this, right? But if Thomas Partey played for Leeds and you wanted to boo him because of the things that, as allegedly he's done off the pitch, fine. But all this is a footballer that you don't think is good enough.
Yeah,
that's it. And the reality of it as well is that he is good enough. He's more than good enough for the level that we find ourselves at currently. If we find ourselves hopefully establishing ourselves in the Premier League and finishing 12th on a regular basis, 10th on a regular basis, challenging for Europe, he should be nowhere near this squad. I get that. But right now, this team finishes between 16th and 18th, and he is of that standard as a squad player. He can start games, he can come on and he can change games. He was really good yesterday. And again, without him, we don't get a point yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and that same player is the same player that certain fans of our club at home are booing. I can't tell you how much it wound me up yesterday.
Yeah, and I think in an age where we're so aware with mental health issues and the impact, it for me, it kind of completely negates that. It's like, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. And
look, say a lot, don't they? Their actions are very different to what they actually say. So
100%. But focusing on what one went well, he obviously has a huge impact. And the equaliser stack, beautiful bit of play, clever finish as well because he cuts it back across. Yeah. It's not an obvious finish. 2-2, Jane. It was at that point it was just like bedlam, wasn't it? You just couldn't believe that we'd done it, and kind of you realise it's going to be a special week at that point. And then it kind of flips back. Liverpool get the noses in front. A bit of genius play, McAllister, I think it is, who dummies the ball and it's straight through to Szoboszlai. And it was just that quality. And you think, is that it kind of thing? Did you think we had one more kind of punch in us that we could do something at that point? How did you feel going into that kind of last bit of injury time?
It's easy to say with hindsight, isn't it? It plays out the way it plays out. But I didn't feel like it was dead and buried. We know that Liverpool are there to be got at. It's at Ellen Road. We'd played well. We'd built ourselves back into the game. I really didn't like that third goal. The Liverpool third goal was a mess. The midfield were a problem. The strikers were a problem. I mean, Daniel Farke was going absolutely ballistic. He was really unhappy because Pascal were all over the place. Gabby were all over the place. I mean, it was bad. And again, it down that left-hand side. There was problems that came before their issue, but ultimately they are there to defend. And again, they didn't do a good job of it. But alas, we do keep on pushing, we keep on working, and we find a 96-minute equaliser. And you know what? We deserved it. We really did. We've worked as nuts this last 7 days to try and come back against City, which we did, and we concede later on to lose a point there. We beat Chelsea up. I mean, we beat Chelsea up. We really did. We beat them black and blue, and the players ran themselves into the ground to match up and bridge that gap of quality. And then again, they run themselves into the ground to squeeze a point out of that game, in which could prove absolutely pivotal. I mean, come the end of the season, that could be a point that keeps us up, and it can be that important. And in and amongst all that as well, and it kind of goes under the radar, this against Manchester City, Chelsea, and Liverpool, we've scored 8 goals. You know what I mean? That's not.
I'm thinking as well. Is this the first time we've got points from consecutive games as well? Or did we do Newcastle then Wolves? I can't quite remember, but it felt like a long time since we picked points up in back-to-back games.
I think we played Newcastle at home, didn't we, and drew, and then we won the game after that, I think.
Fulham straight after the Newcastle.
No, Wolves won it and then Fulham. Anyway, it might have been. Maybe it was Fulham first. I can't remember. Maybe. And I think, again, it's just things to build upon, innit? It's building blocks to build upon. Again, we're seeing that this team are capable of working in and around 1 PPG. People don't like to hear it, but it is going to matter. And, come the end of the season, if we can finish between 38 and 41 points, we're going to give ourselves a massive opportunity to stay up. I mean, I don't know about you, Brownie, but I would take 38 points right now. I really would. If we go down on 38 points, then fine.
Yeah.
But
that's
I would
take real effort in it.
I'd take it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to highlight then a couple of standout performances. Stack, we'll look at Anton Stack, who, by the way, was getting a recommendation from former Wimbledon champion Boris Becker on Twitter. Impressed with Stack's performance. He was urging Julian Nagelsmann, German manager, to call him up. It was 6 ball recoveries, 5 passes into the final third, 3 chances created, 1 shot on target, 1 shot on goal. I thought Stack, and he's had an interesting kind of arc this season as well. And you've got to remember, he's a brand new player to a brand new league as well. And the expectations, I think, were so high of him. And then he had that break with the concussion, I know, and he's come back, and these games he's been absolutely excellent. I mean, I thought against Liverpool, I thought he was just absolutely superb. Everything he did was with purpose, and he wasn't sloppy. He was just dead on it, and he fully deserved to walk away with a goal as well.
100%. And I think again, this is this question where the player will get all of the praise now, but the manager won't get any. Yeah. He's now playing a slightly different role, which is doing better, which is down to the manager. But the manager won't get any praise from the fans. It'll just be Anton Stack's now playing well, because that's what fans do, innit? Like, I don't even know how they really articulate what a manager does or not, really. You know what I mean? Like, if it's when it's good, it's the player, and when it's bad, it's the manager, then I don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't get it. But yeah, I thought it was excellent yesterday. It was my man of the match. I thought he was the best player on the pitch. He was everywhere. Yeah. He was literally linking play everywhere, defensively really astute. I've been really critical of him at times this season as well. I think I've probably been more critical on him because I expect more. I do think he has got that level up right from day one of signing him. Me and you both said, like, he looks like that player that could maybe even go on to a next level. And who knows, maybe he's too late to get that level of development because he's already 26. He's not 22. Yeah. He's not a kid. So who knows? But he was excellent yesterday, and he really, really did kind of look the part within that battle. I thought Ampadu was good alongside him as well. I don't even think Gruev had a bad game yesterday. He's just so limited. He space really, really well, but he's just so limited when the ball comes anywhere near him. And I'm like,
physically small, isn't he, as well? He
Yeah.
just looks tiny in that position. You know, when you got these big beasts going up again, he just gets physically kind of out-muscled.
I was thinking to myself yesterday, I wonder what like Gravenbach and Szoboszlai are thinking when he's running with ball, and his arms and his legs just don't look like they work right. I was thinking, I wonder what they're thinking about the way that he plays.
Well, that was my question mark to you before Gail was like Tanaka being dropped and Gruev coming in. But I like what Gruev's done this season. But he's an interesting footballer.
Again, though, like people drive me mad. Like the online perception of that change yesterday. I mean, people were losing their mind. Like, Faka, he's an idiot. Like, clearly Tanaka's not one of his favourites. It's like, dude, like, he's clearly resting him.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I mean, I think that's what it was. I think he was resting him, and I think he was clearly struggling on the back of Wednesday night, the ice bath comment on Thursday, and all the rest of it. But also, fans have been screaming to Daniel Farke to make changes based on the game that you're going into and playing. Well, could it have not been that Ilya Gruev was playing because he's a little bit more defensively sound than Tanaka is, and we were playing Okafor up front, who were going to be more of an attacking outlet? So you can't have it all. And plus, we've been conceding goals for fun down the left-hand side. Gruev could give us a little bit more defensive stability down that side, you know, as one of the midfield three. But people, again, they say so much. Oh, we want him to make changes dependent on the game in front of us. And then they're like, oh, I think I grew ever.
You're going to laugh, aren't you? Arman Tanaka, though, he did win that point for us. And what a week it's been for him. I mean, how long did he have? 25 minutes or something? 100% duels won. Ball recoveries, tackles, you know, the usual all-action performance. I love him. I think he's going to be a real icon for this club. I think by the time he kind of finishes playing for Leeds, I think he's going to be one of those really revered players. There's just something about him. He's got the charisma. He's got the presence. He's got the presence. It would cost £3 million. I mean, it's bewildering. I just don't get it. I think he's also leveling up. I think we're seeing a kind of leveling up as we go week on week. And 2 goals to round it off. And I guess the interesting thing is, you know, when Longstaff's back as well, you know, it's great to have those options, isn't it? It's great to have those options. You know, and Tanaka was interesting how he was deployed against Chelsea as well. He was like the kind of furthest forward. And, you know, he's that presser, isn't he? He's always the one that's kind of going and pressing. And probably, he just didn't have enough in the tank for last night as well. But also, there's, you know, you could argue, like you say, there's tactical decisions why you would pick Gruev as well. And look, he came on and had an impact. What's the problem?
The finish is quality as well, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, fans will be quick to say again, oh, well, look what he can do. He should have started the game. It doesn't play out like that if he starts the game. He can do that in that moment if he starts the game. He hasn't got the energy to impact the game in that way if he starts the game. So I thought it was a really smart move. And Daniel Farke clearly likes Ilya Gruev, and he clearly rates what he can do. I'm a bit disparaging of him because I just think technically he's so limited. But I do really, really like him. I mean, at championship level, the guy's a joke. He really is. He's so smart. He's so clever. And I think Ilya Gruev in a better team will offer the team so much because he will be able to kind of marshal an area of the pitch while better players around him can do everything else that he can't do. But in the Leeds team, because we have less ability, he needs to be able to do a little bit more, and he can't. That's the problem with him, you know. So, but I do like him. So anyway, it's just funny, isn't it? But what a week! And I mean, we've loved him ever since he came through the door. And the question marks were over him, whether he could step up to the Premier League. Why has he been kind of avoided as a top flight player, not just in the Premier League but in the Bundesliga as well? And I think you did see certain elements of why that was at the beginning of this season. But I agree with you. I think he's adapting. I think he's stepping up. He has cost us a couple of big moments as well, though. You know, the Man City goal was his responsibility, I would say, ultimately, and I'd also put him at fault for the Bournemouth equaliser later on in that game as well. Individual mistakes, that kind of mentality, the education, the football brain, but you can only learn that through experience. takes time, because in the Championship you get away with that. You give the ball away and the attack probably breaks down into nothing. But in the 92nd minute away at the Etihad, Phil Foden picks the ball up and he will score. So, you just can't, you learn not to make them same levels of mistakes. So, but he's been brilliant. I love everything about him. I love his attitude. I love the kind of Asian thing that kind of comes with it, like the Japanese teacher that kind of came over and saw him, and the Japanese commentary that we're all seeing of him going absolutely mad. Like, I love that part of the world. I think the culture side of Asia, Japan, is just incredible. I love it. So for me, he's an absolute diamond within our ranks. And long may it continue. Love him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. One negative though, Jay, last night, the ref, Anthony Taylor. I mean, God Almighty. He didn't want to give that penalty, did he? He was going to. I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd have gone to the monitor and gone, "Nope, I'm not giving it. I'm not giving it." I thought the referee on Wednesday, apart from probably not booking more Chelsea players, was spot on. But I mean, the ref last night, it was just infuriating at times, yeah.
And Anthony Taylor's one of the better ones as well, which is, reputationally he is, but I don't like him at all. He was a madness, wasn't he? He was just a madness. He was just constantly getting stuff wrong.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
There were one that he gave on Pascal. I can't remember. It was first half. Yeah. I mean, it just was never, ever, ever a foul. No. And the worst thing about that was as well, we turned the ball over and we were ready to break. We won it basically on the halfway line. It was just awful. I can't lie, I don't blame him for not giving the penalty on first look. I didn't think it was a penalty when I first saw it either. The positioning of where the ball was and the way that Nonto went down and everything all looked a little bit odd. But I've been watching it back. It was a stonewaller, to be honest. So, he had a shocker, mate.
Are you worried? I mean, it's hard to say when we've played, three world-class teams with elite strikers, but even before that, defensively, the amount of goals we generally concede. Is that something that we need to be concerned about, or because I feel like we've got, especially in, when you're talking about three at the back, you've got three excellent central defenders, you've got a good goalkeeper. I think Gabby, there's a few kind of, it seems to be a bit of a leak in the ship, does that. But do we need to try and tighten that down a little bit? I mean, it's easier said than done when you're playing teams like Liverpool who've got, £200 million players on the bench and all this kind of thing. But I mean, is that something you're worried about kind of generally going forward, or do you just think, look, we're a team that's fighting to stay up, you're going to concede a lot of goals, and it's what you can do at the other end, or can you limit it, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's a really tricky question to answer, because ultimately, as one of the worst teams in the division, which regardless of where we finish 16th, 17th or 18th, we are still going to be one of the worst teams in the division. Yeah. We're going to concede a lot of goals against the better teams. We conceded one goal against Chelsea to pretty much the only opportunity that they had. Cole Palmer had one other good chance. Apart from that, they had nothing. We limited them to very, very little. Liverpool, I mean, obviously, they didn't have much before we gifted them one. Yeah. We concede 3, but they also concede 3. And they've got arguably 2 of the best centre-backs in world football. And you can make your arguments over that, but they are still 2 of the best centre-backs around, So we hit Chelsea for 3. And, some people would say that their back 4, I mean, I really don't like their back 4, but they're still going to be in and around a Champions League battle. We scored 2 against Man City. And the same for them. I mean, Gvardiol, what a centre-back. Ruben Diaz, what a centre-back. So it's a real tricky one to kind of answer the question. It's going to come more to light over the next few weeks as we start playing an opposition that are a little bit further down the table. They're still going to cause us loads of problems, because all Premier League attacks are going to cause you problems. I feel more confident about it in the 3-5-2.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel a danger from Liverpool in that first half. I know they created some half moments, but the quality, but with the 3 back there, I felt fairly comfortable. So we'll see. Yeah. I think.
Gakpo's a strange player, isn't he? He just overplays it. I mean, I don't understand him at all. Like, I was just watching it. It's like some of the decisions. You're like, what are you doing, mate?
Somebody kind of described him really well on Twitter earlier, which is not something I say often because Twitter's a cesspit. But they were saying that Gakpo looks like a number 9 that gets forced to play out wide. And it makes a lot of sense to me. Like, he does a lot of weird things that a creative winger wouldn't do, that a striker would do when they were trying to kind of fill a role. And that's what it reminds me of. He's so one-footed as well. I mean, he's awful on his left-hand side. But because he plays on the left-hand side to cut in on his right, he's forced to sometimes go on his left, and he's just terrible. Yeah, he's an odd player. And Liverpool are they're in an odd conundrum. I know that they've got all sorts going on at their end at the minute. You know, this situation with Salah, which is an absolute...
I was going to say, yeah. What do you make of that? I mean, he's come out after and he's absolutely dropped the bomb, hasn't he?
I can only assume that he knows he's going in January, or he's trying to force the January move, and he's done this to kind of force Liverpool's hand around it. He's going to miss all of January anyway because of AFCON, and I don't think he wants to have it to deal with. I think he wants, by the time he gets back, to have gone. That's my opinion. He's clearly losing his legs. There's clearly issues at Liverpool as well that then coincide with not getting the best out of him. I mean, he's looked awful this season. I've watched Liverpool. Terrible.
Someone who captained him in bloody fantasy football, he did bugger all for weeks and games.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but there's clearly big problems there.
Yeah, it seems quite deep rooted, doesn't it, with them? And another team actually that seemed to be kind of slipping by the wayside. And interesting comment from the manager was Burnley lost again, and Scott Parker, I don't know if you've seen it in the press conference, it's kind of a clip doing the rounds with a lot of Burnley fans where he says, you know, we might not be good enough, and fans of Bournemouth and Fulham heard very similar talk, and it's always a bad sign when Scott Parker starts to talk like that when he's managing you, because you know, if the man at the top has to believe, doesn't he, or he has to act like he believes, he has to, you know, sound like he believes that they can stay up. And if I could turn around and say we might not be good enough, you know, it's like, bloody hell, well, we'll just wave the white flag now. But I thought that were a really bad sign for Burnley. They do now seem to be starting to really kind of falter and stutter.
For me, that is the only blemish on our season, is the Burnley loss.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not technically, but in terms of the way that I perceive where we would be, and the games that we had up until this point, that is the only blemish on our record, because we don't lose that game, even if we draw that game. I'd have taken the draw before the game. I remember saying it, and everybody laughed at me. Everybody were like, no, you got to be going to win in this game. It's not as simple as that, especially when they know that they have to pick up points somewhere, and Leeds at home for them is massive. But if we could have just taken a point out of that game, they'd have been on 8 now, or whatever it had been, and we'd have been another point further up, and it'd have changed the dynamic of the way that everything was feeling right now, because they are poor. They're the second worst team in the division. I don't think that's really up for debate. I think they're exactly where they should be. I think that, you know, you shouldn't be voicing it in the way that he is, but the reality of what he's saying is probably the truth. It's just you don't want it to come from the manager. But you look through their team and their performances and the way that they're playing, they're not very good. It's just as simple as that. They're not very good. And Wolves are even worse. I mean, Wolves are just the pit out there. They're so bad. So.
Not good at all, is it? A couple of games today. Our old boy Gio did us a favour, smashed in an equaliser. By the way, can I see Brighton were honking today?
Didn't say.
Where was the Brighton that played us a few weeks ago at home? Jeez, Brighton were honking. I mean, the Brighton, they've got talented players that still create a couple of good chances, but the general play, I just thought, crap. I mean, I was admittedly just keeping one eye on it, but I just thought every time I looked, I was like, what are they doing? I was like, what's this Brighton performance? Where were this against us a few weeks ago? Where, you know, Jesus.
Don't you think Brighton and Bournemouth have both got hot and cold? They're both capable of super hot and cold performances. I mean, Bournemouth didn't win again. They keep on kind of slipping. And Brighton, I mean, they find themselves in a fairly decent spot with the Premier League at the minute. I mean, it's almost impossible to pick a winner one week to the next.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the table. I think I've looked earlier, there's 3 points between Chelsea in 4th and Manchester United in 12th. That's mental.
So yeah, I'm having a look now, and I'll just before we finish up, I'll bring on the league table as well, and suddenly we're only 4 points behind Brentford. We've got that daylight now to the bottom three as well, a couple of points there.
Just on that, you've kind of, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
I remember a couple of weeks back people saying to me that teams around us would just win all these games and there'd be a gap, right? Out of all of them teams that you've brought up there, Browney, who's taken the most points over the last 2 games?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's us, isn't it? Yeah, it's us. Yeah, God.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So teams down the bottom, especially 15 games into the season now, they don't win very often.
No.
They don't. So 1 win is very, very significant. Even a point is almost really, really significant. We got a point yesterday and we climbed 2 places, didn't we? Or we climbed 1 place because I think we're in front of West Ham. But whatever, we've now got two place gap, if you like, to the bottom 3. We need to show as a fan base the stomach that we're going to be in and around there all season, and we need to kicking and screaming drag the boys over the line, especially at home. This set of results and performances that we've been showing isn't going to now just mean that we start like getting loads of points away from home. We're just not. I do think this Brentford game's massive. I think that game's really, really big.
Yeah, well, I want to get your thoughts kind of on that, and obviously we'll expand on it on our Thursday show later in the week, but it feels massive because we've got a real chance to peg them back. It's a big test for the lads away from home as well, because there is a big question mark. What do you expect to see from that? It's weird, isn't it? How can you be so kind of at home the way we are, and then you go away and apart from Man City second half, obviously, which has been our best away performance for all season really. What do we need to do to replicate that home form? How can you do that, and what should be the attitude? Because this is a game where if we get 3 points there, Jay, it pulls Brentford right back into it.
I don't think there's an easy answer for this, Brandon, because home and away form is a thing. It's a reality. Like, it's not just something that people say. It's the teams play completely differently. The expectation is completely different. That's why in an FA Cup tie, they always want the big dogs to go to their little small grounds and they can rough them up. The fans get right behind them. You give an extra 10, 15, 20%, and it makes that difference to get the result. In a game of football, you've got 2 sides that are trying to win it. And when a team has the mentality that they're going to go at, it's difficult to defend, especially when you've not got the quality that the opposition have got. We turn up against Brentford, and again, 1-11, you'd probably swap the whole team out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe not with Brentford. Maybe it's a little bit more closer than some of the other opposition that we've had recently, but it'd still be in their favour, right? Like, if we got the option tomorrow to swap squads, we would, because we know we'd probably stand a better chance of staying up with their squad than we do with ours. So, and this is a reality. So I think it'll be interesting to see the 3-5-2 away from home or the 5-3-2. I would love to see us go there and just stink the place out and steal a 1-0 win. Like, I want to see stink away from home. Resolute stink, good defensive stink. And really fighting and battling a performance where, you have 2 or 3 chances on target over 90 minutes. You score one of them and you win 1-0. You go and do a job, go do a number on them and nick that win. That's what I want to see. That'd really, really make me happy. Against Wolves, we battered them because we're just so much better than them on the day. They're just so poor at the minute. Away from home, Fulham, I suppose we were okay defensively for a long period in that game, but they're pretty poor as well. So it'd be good to see us go there with the 5-3-2 and really, really defensively structure kind of, like I said, stink them out of the game and win the game.
Well, there's a couple of things with this as well, because A, I want Leeds United to win football games and stay up, obviously, but B, I don't want the conversation to swing back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago if we lose a couple of games now.
Yeah.
We've got Brentford away, we've got Palace at home, and if it's bad results in them win, it's going to do my head in, because we're going to be right back despite this week. Whatever we say, it's going to head back that way. And I'm just really hoping now, Jay, we can just start picking up more, more points more regularly. if we can. But it's the Premier League. It's tough.
You
can go 6 games, without a win or even a point. But I just hope, for the sake of the conversation, that we can it can be fired up by this last few days.
This kind of sums it up, doesn't it? And I think this is absolutely spot on, because we lose next weekend, which we very well may do.
Yeah.
We go back through this cycle all over again. Told you that them games were just a freak. We should sack him now. Yeah, we'll just go back over the same narrative all over again, and it would be nice to give ourselves that breathing space. But the reality is that we probably won't, because we are one of the worst teams in the division. And come the end of the season, the likelihood is, at the very best scenario, we find ourselves sat in 17th, going to West Ham away with it in our hands. That is almost kind of best case scenario on the last game of the season, in my eyes. Like, I don't see a world in which this side, under any manager, will ever be good enough to give itself daylight on the relegation zone.
Yeah.
We're going to be in and amongst this battle all season.
Well, this is it. I mean, even if we throw a stinker in against Brentford, when we've got Palace at home then on the 20th, we should be, Brentford's done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's have a bit of rah-rah and, go for it.
If we stay up, it'll be Ellen Road that keeps us up.
Yeah. Oh,
it will.
By the way, Ellen Road, I mean, it's so fascinating watching the wider world kind of wake up a little bit to what it's like, and the Chelsea fan TV saying it's the best ground, best atmosphere, and it's our 12th man. There's no doubt.
It is. I mean, we've got Arsenal and Man City still to come at Ellen Road, but outside of them two now, we can even hope to beat them two, if I'm honest, because I truly think Ellen Road can do that.
We said there were points to get this week, and there were, and we did.
Yeah. But outside of them two now, we've not got anybody better than Chelsea to come.
No.
And we beat Chelsea comfortably. We beat Chelsea as well. Anybody else that comes to Ellen Road, if we make it what we can make it, we can pick points up. We can literally stay up single-handedly on our own form.
Man United 4th of January. Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I know.
3 points in that one. Oh, please.
Let's get through this period first.
yeah. See Christmas out. Right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone who's joined us very much. Sorry if we didn't get to all your comments, but we really do appreciate them. If you're watching the video again later, let us know what you thought. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Myself and Jay, we will be back later in the week, Thursday morning, our usual regular slot to discuss all things Leeds United, and we'll preview that Brentford game in a little bit more detail as well. I've been Stephen Brown. With me as ever has been Jason Booker. Jason, thank you very much, mate.
Thank you, mate.
And we will see you later in the week. Take care. Bye-bye.